The stars looked cold and empty in this part of space. Commander Vextal stood on the bridge of his ship, watching the main screen show nothing but darkness. His long blue fingers tapped against the metal rail as he waited. The Zephyrian Empire had sent him here to check out this star system. It was supposed to be empty, like so many others they had found. "Commander," called out his sensor officer from across the bridge, "we are getting close to the third planet. Should I start the deep scan?" Vextal nodded. "Yes, begin scanning. Look for any signs of life or useful materials." The Zephyrian fleet moved slowly through space. 5 ships, each one bigger than a city block, glided forward like silent sharks. They had done this same job hundreds of times before. Find empty worlds, mark them for future use, move on to the next system. It was boring work, but someone had to do it. The sensor officer's eyes went wide as he looked at his screen. "Commander, I am picking up strange energy readings from the planet. There are also what look like metal structures on the surface." Vextal felt his heart beat faster. Energy readings meant technology. Technology meant intelligent life. "Are you sure about this?" "Yes, sir. The readings are very clear." "There is definitely something down there." The commander smiled. This was much more interesting than another empty rock. "Send word to the Empire. Tell them we have found a new species. Start the first contact plan." The first contact plan was simple. The Zephyrians had used it many times before. They would show up with their big ships and advanced weapons. The primitive aliens would be scared and surrender quickly. Then the Zephyrians would offer to protect them in exchange for their planet's resources. It always worked. "Sir," the communications officer spoke up, "I am detecting radio waves coming from the planet. Should I try to make contact?" "Yes, use the standard greeting. Make sure they understand how powerful we are." The communications officer began sending signals toward the planet. The Zephyrians expected to hear frightened voices speaking in some unknown alien language. They were ready to use their translation computers to figure out what the primitives were trying to say. Instead, a calm voice came through their speakers. The voice spoke perfect Zephyrian. "Unknown vessels, this is Captain Jake Morrison of the Earthship Defiant. We have been monitoring your approach. Please identify yourselves and state your purpose in this system." The bridge went completely silent. Everyone stared at the communications panel. How was this possible? How did these aliens know their language? Vextal felt confused and worried. In all his years of first contact missions, nothing like this had ever happened. Primitive species were supposed to be primitive. They should not know advanced languages or have ships with names like military vessels. How long have they been watching us? He asked his sensor officer. "I do not know, sir. Our sensors show only one ship near the planet. It is much smaller than ours." The human voice came through the speakers again. "Zephyrian vessels, we are waiting for your response. Please do not take any hostile actions. We wish to talk peacefully." Vixtal's mouth fell open. These humans knew they were Zephyrians. They had been expecting them. This was not how first contact was supposed to work. "Commander," his weapons officer called out, "should I charge the weapons? These humans might be dangerous." Vextal thought for a moment. The humans had a much smaller ship and seemed to want to talk, but they also knew too much. How long had they been watching the Zephyrian Empire? What else did they know? "Yes. Charge the weapons, but do not fire yet. Open a channel to the human ship." The screen flickered and showed the bridge of the human vessel. A man with brown hair and calm eyes looked back at them. He wore a blue uniform and sat in a chair that looked comfortable but practical. "Greetings," the human said. "I am Captain Jake Morrison. Welcome to our system." "Your system?" Vextal asked. "This system belongs to no one. We are here to claim it for the Zephyrian Empire. Captain Morrison smiled slightly. I am afraid there has been a misunderstanding. This system has been under human protection for quite some time. We would be happy to discuss this matter peacefully. Vextel felt his anger rising. These humans were acting like they were equals. Did they not understand that the Zephyrian Empire was the most powerful force in this part of the galaxy? Human, you do not understand your situation. We have 5 warships. You have 1 small vessel. You will surrender this system to us, or we will take it by force. The human captain's expression did not change. He still looked calm and relaxed. Commander, I suggest you reconsider. We really do not want any trouble. You threaten us? Vextal laughed. Look at your tiny ship compared to our fleet. You cannot possibly win. Captain Morrison leaned back in his chair. Size is not everything, Commander. Perhaps we should demonstrate our capabilities before this goes any further. Vextal felt a chill run down his spine. There was something in the human's voice that made him nervous. The captain sounded like someone who knew something that others did not. Prepare to attack. Vextal ordered his crew. These humans need to learn their place. On the bridge of the human ship Defiant, Lieutenant Amy Rodriguez watched her tactical display with sharp eyes. The 5 alien vessels were moving into what looked like an attack formation. Their weapons were powering up, and their shields were at full strength. Captain, she said, turning to face Jake Morrison, the alien ships are taking aggressive positions. They appear to be preparing for combat. Captain Morrison nodded calmly. He had expected this might happen. Many alien species they had encountered before tried to use force when they first met humans. It never ended well for them. Sound red alert, Morrison ordered. All hands to battle stations. Raise shields and prepare weapons, but do not fire unless fired upon. The bridge lights dimmed to a soft red glow. Throughout the ship, crew members rushed to their positions. Warning sounds echoed through the corridors as the Defiant prepared for what might come next. On the Zephyrian flagship, Commander Vextal watched as his ships moved into their standard attack formation. This formation had worked against every species they had ever encountered. The sight of 5 massive warships surrounding a single enemy vessel usually made them surrender immediately. Commander, his weapons officer called out. All ships report. Ready to fire. The human vessel has raised some kind of energy barrier around itself. Vextal smiled. Primitive shield technology. Every new species thought their basic energy screens would protect them. They were always wrong. Fire a warning shot across their bow, he ordered. Use half power on the main plasma cannon. That should show them what we can do. The weapons officer pressed several buttons on his control panel. Firing now, sir. A bright blue beam of energy shot out from the lead Zephyrian ship. It streaked through space toward the human vessel, passing just in front of its nose. The plasma blast was powerful enough to destroy a small moon. Any primitive ship caught in its path would be instantly vaporized. But something strange happened. The human ship's shields flared bright white as the plasma beam struck them. The energy that should have overwhelmed any basic defense system was absorbed completely. The shields flickered for just a moment, then returned to their normal blue glow. On the Defiance bridge, Chief Engineer Ben Parker looked at his instruments and shook his head. Captain, their warning shot barely registered on our shield grid. Shield strength is still at 99%. Captain Morrison raised an eyebrow. 99%? Are you sure? Yes, sir. Whatever they hit us with, it was not very powerful. Our shields absorbed it easily. Lieutenant Rodriguez checked her own readings. Sir, I am scanning their weapons. Their plasma technology appears to be several generations behind our current standards. Meanwhile, on the Zephyrian flagship, confusion. was spreading through the bridge. The weapons officer stared at his scanner in disbelief. "Commander," he said slowly, "our plasma beam made direct contact with their shields, but there is no sign of damage. Their energy barrier is still at full strength." Vextall felt his stomach drop. "That is impossible. Run a diagnostic on our weapon systems." "I already did, sir. All systems are working perfectly. The beam fired at exactly half power, just as you ordered." "Then why are their shields still up?" "I do not know, sir." Vextall stared at the human ship on his main screen. It sat there calmly, showing no signs of damage or distress. This was not how things were supposed to go. His warning shot should have at least damaged their shields, or made them afraid. "Try again," he ordered. "Full power this time. All ships fire on the human vessel." "Sir," his communications officer interrupted, "we are receiving a message from the human captain." "Put it on screen." Captain Morrison appeared on the Zephyrian bridge display. He still looked perfectly calm and relaxed. "Commander Vextall, I strongly advise you to stop your attack. No one needs to get hurt today." "You dare threaten us?" Vextall shouted. "We just demonstrated our power, and you act like nothing happened." "Your demonstration was noted," Morrison replied. "But I think you misunderstood the results. Our shields are designed to handle much more powerful attacks than what you just used." Vextall felt his face turn red with anger. "Impossible. Our plasma cannons can destroy entire cities." "Perhaps on unshielded targets," Morrison said. "But you are dealing with human military technology now. Things work differently." The Zephyrian commander cut the communication and turned to his weapons officer. "Fire everything we have at that ship. I want it destroyed." "All ships. This is the flagship," the weapons officer announced. "Fire all weapons at the human vessel. Full power, all batteries." The space around the Defiant lit up like a deadly fireworks show. Plasma beams, photon torpedoes, and energy missiles streaked toward the human ship from 5 different directions. It was enough firepower to level a continent dot, but again, something unexpected happened. The human ship began to move. Not slowly like the massive Zephyrian vessels, but with impossible speed and grace. It twisted and spun through space like a dancer, avoiding most of the incoming fire. The few shots that did connect were absorbed by shields that seemed to grow. Stronger rather than weaker, Lieutenant Kate Sullivan sat at the helm of the Defiant, her hands dancing over the control panel. "Evasive maneuvers complete, Captain. All incoming fire avoided or absorbed. Damage report," Morrison called out. "No damage, sir," Engineer Parker replied. "Shields are holding at 97%. These aliens really do not have very advanced weapons." Captain Morrison stood up from his chair. "Amy, scan their ships again. I want to know exactly what we are dealing with." Lieutenant Rodriguez worked at her station for several minutes. "Captain, I have completed the scan. Their technology is much more primitive than I first thought. Their fusion reactors are old designs. Their weapons are inefficient. Even their armor plating is basic metal alloys." "How basic?" "Sir, I would estimate their technology is about 300 years behind our current standards, maybe more." Morrison sat back down and thought about this information. These aliens had probably been the strongest force in their part of the galaxy for a long time. They were used to being the ones with superior technology. They had no idea that humanity had advanced far beyond anything they could imagine. Captain opened a communication channel to the Zephyrian fleet. "Commander Vextall, I think we need to talk." Commander Vextall stared at the human ship in complete shock. His most powerful weapons had done nothing. The small vessel continued to float calmly in space as if nothing had happened. This was impossible. The Zephyrian Empire had conquered dozens of worlds with those same weapons. "Sir," his weapons officer said with a shaking voice. All our shots either missed or were absorbed by their shields. Their energy barrier shows no signs of weakening. Vextal slammed his fist on the control panel. How can one small ship defend? Against our entire fleet? Check our weapons again. Something must be wrong. I have checked 3 times, Commander. All weapons are working perfectly. The problem is not with our systems. The alien commander felt fear creeping into his heart. For the first time in his military career, he was facing an enemy that seemed impossible to defeat. But he could not give up now. The Empire was counting on him. Contact the other ships, he ordered. Tell them to prepare the quantum torpedoes. We will use our most powerful weapons. His weapons officer looked worried. Sir, quantum torpedoes are planet killers. They could destroy everything in this area of space. I do not care. These humans must be stopped. On the bridge of the Defiant, Lieutenant Amy Rodriguez watched her sensors as the alien ships began charging their largest weapons. Captain, they are preparing something big. Energy readings are off the charts. Captain Morrison studied the tactical display. The alien ships were positioning themselves in a circle around his vessel. They were planning to hit him from all sides at once. What kind of weapons are they charging? Morrison asked. Looks like some type of quantum torpedo, sir. Very old design, but powerful enough to cause serious damage if they all hit at once. Can our shields handle it? Lieutenant Rodriguez ran some quick calculations on her computer. Yes, sir, but it might be close. These aliens really want us dead. Captain Morrison nodded. Kate, prepare for extreme evasive maneuvers. Ben, divert power from non-essential systems to shields and engines. Lieutenant Kate Sullivan's hands moved. Across her control panel, preparing the ship for what was coming. Ready for evasive action, Captain. Chief Engineer Ben Parker worked at his station, moving power around the ship like a master conductor leading an orchestra. Shield power increased to 120%. Engines are running at maximum efficiency. Sir, Rodriguez added, I should mention that their torpedo guidance systems look very basic. If we move fast enough, most of them will not be able to track us. Morrison smiled slightly. Good to know. Stand by. On the Zephyrian flagship, Vextal was ready to end this fight once and for all. All ships report ready to fire quantum torpedoes. This is it. Fire everything. 20 massive torpedoes launched from the 5 alien ships. Each one was the size of a small building and packed with enough explosive power to crack a planet's crust. They streaked through space toward the human vessel, their primitive guidance systems trying to lock onto their target. But something amazing happened. Next, the human ship suddenly moved faster than anything Vextal had ever seen. It spun and twisted through space like it weighed nothing at all. The torpedoes tried to follow, but they were too slow and clumsy. Most of them flew past the Defiant harmlessly. The few torpedoes that did get close were met by streams of bright energy that shot out from small guns on the human ship's hull. These point defense weapons moved so quickly they looked like laser light shows. Each torpedo was hit multiple times and exploded long before it could reach its target. Impossible, Vextal whispered as he watched his most powerful attack fail. Completely. On the Defiant, Kate Sullivan felt like she was dancing with the stars. The ship responded to her commands instantly, moving through space with grace that should not have been possible for something so large. All torpedoes destroyed or evaded, Captain, she reported. That was actually kind of fun. Damage report, Morrison called out. No damage at all, sir, Engineer Parker replied. Shields are still holding strong. Those aliens need better weapons. Lieutenant. Rodriguez shook her head as she studied her scanners. Captain, I cannot believe how primitive their technology is. Their torpedoes used solid fuel rockets for propulsion. Their guidance systems were basic radio frequency. It was like fighting weapons from ancient history. Captain Morrison stood up from his chair and walked to the front of the bridge. He looked out at the alien ships through the main viewing window. They had stopped firing and seemed to be waiting for something. "Sir," Rodriguez said quietly, "I think they are out of ideas. They just used their most powerful weapons, and we are still here." Morrison nodded. "Open a channel to their flagship." The screen showed Commander Vixdal's bridge again. The alien commander looked defeated and confused. His crew members were staring at their instruments in disbelief. "Commander," Morrison said calmly, "I think this has gone far enough. Your weapons cannot hurt us, and I do not want to hurt you. Perhaps we should talk instead of fight." Vextal's voice was barely a whisper. "What are you?" "We are humans. We come from a planet called Earth. We have been watching your empire for some time, learning about your culture and technology. How long have you been watching us?" "Long enough to know that you are not really evil, just used to being the strongest. Force in this part of space. That time is over now." Vextal felt his world crumbling around him. Everything he believed about Zephyrian superiority was wrong. "What do you want from us?" Morrison smiled. "Right now, I want you to stop shooting at my ship. After that, we can discuss how our peoples might work together instead of fighting." "You would spare us, even after we attacked you?" "Commander, you never had a chance of hurting us. Your weapons are centuries behind ours. But that does not mean we want to destroy you. We prefer peace to war." Vextal looked around his bridge at his crew. They were all watching him, waiting for his decision. He had two choices: keep fighting a battle he could never win, or try to understand these strange humans who offered peace instead of conquest. "What kind of demonstration would convince you that fighting is pointless?" Morrison asked. Vex single quotes tall thought about this question. "Show us what your weapons can do." Captain Morrison looked at Lieutenant Rodriguez. "Amy, target their flagship's main engine. Use minimum power on the railgun, just enough to disable it without causing casualties." "Aye, sir." Firing one railgun round at 5% power. A bright flash lit up space as the human weapon fired. The projectile moved so fast it was almost invisible. It struck the Zephyrian flagship's engine section with surgical precision, causing sparks and smoke but no explosions. Vextal felt his ship shudder as the engine went offline. His engineering officer reported that the damage was limited to the main drive system. No one was hurt, but they could not move. "How?" Vextal asked. Morrison's voice was gentle but firm. "That was our weakest weapon at minimum power. We could have destroyed your entire fleet in the first second of this fight. We chose not to because we believe in giving everyone a chance to choose peace." Commander Vextal stared at his dead engine displays in complete terror. The human weapon had struck his ship with impossible precision. Not one person was hurt, but his massive warship could no longer move. How could any species have such perfect control over their weapons? "Engineering report," he called out, his voice shaking. "Sir," his chief engineer replied, "the damage is very strange. Their weapon hit only the main engine core. Everything else is working perfectly. It is like they knew exactly what to hit and how much force to use." Vextal felt cold fear spreading through his body. These humans had not tried to destroy his ship. They had simply taken away its ability to run. It was like a parent taking a toy away from a dangerous child. On the bridge of the Defiant, Captain Morrison watched the alien fleet through his main screen. 4 ships were still able to move, but they were not trying to attack anymore. They were just floating in space, probably trying to figure out what to do next. "Sir," Lieutenant Amy Rodriguez said, The other alien ships are powering down their weapons. I think they are afraid to shoot at us again. Morrison nodded. I do not blame them. Open a channel to all 5 ships. The main screen split into 5 sections, showing the bridges of all the Zephyrian vessels. Vextau was on the largest image. In the center, the other ship commanders looked scared and confused. Commanders, Morrison said calmly, I do not want to hurt any of you, but I need you to understand that this fight is over. You cannot win. One of the other alien captains, a female with green skin, spoke up. Human, what kind of technology do you possess? Your ship should not be able to do what it just did. Morrison looked at his chief engineer. Ben, would you like to explain? Chief Engineer Ben Parker stepped forward so the aliens could see him clearly. He was a big man with kind eyes and oil-stained hands from working on machines. Well, Parker said in a friendly voice, your ships are built with very old technology. Your fusion reactors are about 300 years behind our current designs. Your weapons use basic plasma energy that our shields can absorb easily. And your hulls are made of simple metal that our railguns can punch through like paper. The alien commanders looked at each other with growing horror. Parker continued. Our railguns fire metal slugs at about 30% of light speed. Our energy weapons can cut through almost anything. And our shields use quantum field technology that your scientists probably have not even discovered yet. Commander Vextall found his voice. If you are so advanced, why have we never heard of you? Before? Captain Morrison answered. Because we do not go around conquering other species. We prefer to watch and learn. We have been studying your empire for months, but we stayed hidden. Why? Asked the green-skinned female commander. Because we hoped we would never have to meet like this. We wanted to make peaceful contact when both our peoples were ready. Lieutenant Rodriguez looked up from her station. Captain, I am detecting more Zephyrian ships approaching this system. Looks like a larger fleet, Morrison sighed. How many ships? 20 vessels, sir. Much larger than these 5. They will be here in about 10 minutes. Commander Vextau's eyes went wide. That is Admiral Krexther's battle fleet. He must have received our distress signal. Is this admiral likely to listen to reason? Morrison asked. No, Vextall said quietly. He will try to destroy you no matter what. Admiral Krexther believes that any species that threatens the Empire must be eliminated. Morrison thought about this news. 20 ships against 1. The odds looked bad, but he knew his ship could handle it. The problem was that a bigger fight might hurt more people. Kate, he said to his helm officer, can you plot an escape course out of this system? Lieutenant Kate Sullivan checked her navigation computer. Yes, sir. We could be in hyperspace in 2 minutes. No, Morrison said. After a moment. If we run away, these aliens will think humans are cowards. They might come looking for Earth. We need to show them that fighting us is a bad idea. He turned back to the alien commanders on his screen. I am going to disable your remaining ships. Please tell your crews not to resist. I do not want anyone to get hurt. You cannot fight 20 ships, Vextall said. Even with your advanced technology. Morrison smiled sadly. Commander, you still do not understand what you are dealing with. Ben, prepare the railgun batteries. Amy, target their engines and weapons. Only Kate, get ready for evasive maneuvers. Sir, Engineer Parker called out. Should I bring the main cannon online? No, Ben, railguns only. We are trying to make a point, not start a war. The remaining 4 Zephyrian ships watched in amazement as the human vessel moved toward them. Instead of running away from the approaching battle fleet, it was moving closer to finish what it had started. Lieutenant Rodriguez worked at her tactical station with focused intensity. Firing solutions locked on all targets, Captain. railgun batteries charged and ready. Fire when ready. The space around the alien ships lit up with streaks of light as the Defiant's railguns opened fire. The metal projectiles moved so fast they seemed to teleport from the human ship to their targets. Each shot hit exactly where it was aimed. The first alien ship shuddered as its main weapons were destroyed. The second ship lost its engines in a shower of sparks. The third ship's communication array vanished in a bright flash. The fourth ship found itself unable to move as its steering controls were surgically removed in less than 30 seconds. All 4 remaining ships were completely disabled. They could not shoot, could not move, and could barely communicate, but they were all still alive. Commander Vextau watched through his view screen as the human ship positioned itself between his disabled fleet and the approaching Zephyrian battle group. The small human vessel looked tiny compared to the 20 massive warships racing toward them. "Human," Vextau said over the communication channel, "you have made your point. Please escape while you can. Admiral Krexter will destroy you." "Captain." Morrison's voice was calm and confident. "Commander, I appreciate your concern, but I think it is time your people learned something important about humans." "What is that?" "We do not run from bullies, and we do not let innocent people get hurt if we can help it." As the 20 alien warships approached, Morrison turned to his crew. "All right, everyone, let us show them what human engineering can really do." Admiral Krexter arrived with thunder and fury. His battle fleet dropped out of hyperspace like a swarm of angry metal wasps. 20 massive warships, each one twice the size of Commander Vextau's vessels, spread out in a perfect attack formation. On the bridge of his flagship, the Zephyrian Admiral was a terrifying sight. His black skin was covered with scars from 100 battles. His red eyes burned with anger as he stared at the small human ship that had dared to attack the Empire. "What is the situation?" Krexter demanded. His communications officer was shaking. As he replied, "Sir, Commander Vextau's entire fleet has been disabled. All 5 ships are unable to fight or move. The human vessel appears to be protecting them." "One ship did this? Impossible." "Sir, I am reading the battle records now. The human weapons appear to be far more advanced than anything we have ever seen." Admiral Krexter slammed his fist on his command chair. "I do not care how advanced. They are. No one attacks the Zephyrian Empire in Luz. All ships, prepare for immediate attack. I want that human ship destroyed." On the bridge of the Defiant, Captain Morrison watched the new alien fleet take aggressive positions. These ships were bigger and looked more dangerous than the first group, but his sensors told him they used the same old technology. "Captain," Lieutenant Amy Rodriguez reported, "the new fleet is charging weapons. Energy readings suggest they have about 4 times the firepower of the first group. Still using plasma-based weapons?" Morrison asked. "Yes, sir. Same basic technology, just more of it." Chief Engineer Ben Parker looked up from his station. "Captain, should I bring our main weapon systems online? 20 ships is a lot, even for us." Morrison thought about this for a moment. He really did not want to hurt these aliens, but they seemed determined to fight. Maybe it was time to show them what human technology could really do. "Yes, Ben, bring everything online, but keep all weapons at minimum power. I want to disable their ships, not destroy them." "Aye, sir." Activating full weapons array. Across the human ship, weapon systems that had been sleeping suddenly came to life. Railgun turrets emerged from hidden panels. Energy beam projectors unfolded from the hull. Missile tubes opened like mechanical flowers. The small ship suddenly bristled with enough firepower to level a continent. Lieutenant Kate Sullivan felt the ship's power systems surge as the weapons came online. "Captain, the ship feels different, more alive." That is because we are finally using her properly, Morrison replied. Kate, I need you to do something that is going to look impossible. What do you need, sir? I want you to fly us through their entire fleet. Weave between their ships so fast they cannot track us. Can you do that? Kate's eyes lit up with excitement. Sir, I have been wanting to try that maneuver since I graduated from flight school. Admiral Krexter watched the human ship on his main screen. It looked so small compared to his mighty fleet. How could one tiny vessel think it could fight 20 of the Empire's best warships? All ships, fire at will, he commanded. Destroy that ship. The space around the Defiant erupted in deadly light as 20 ships opened fire at once. Hundreds of plasma beams and energy torpedoes streaked toward the human vessel from every direction. But then something happened that no Zephyrian had ever seen before. The human ship moved like liquid lightning. It spun and danced through the incoming fire, avoiding most of the shots completely. The few weapons that did connect were absorbed by shields that seemed to grow brighter with each hit. But the Defiant was not just dodging. It was fighting back as Kate Sullivan flew the ship through the alien fleet like a needle through cloth. The human weapons fired with perfect accuracy. Railgun rounds struck engine blocks with surgical precision. Energy beams sliced through weapon systems without touching anything else. Small missiles found their targets and disabled communication arrays in less than 5 minutes. Half of Admiral Krexter's fleet was unable to fight. Impossible, the Admiral whispered as he watched his ships being picked apart. How are they doing this? His weapons officer was staring at his instruments in disbelief. Sir, they are not even using their full power. Sensor readings suggest their weapons are firing at less than 10% capacity. What? Why would they hold back? On the Defiant, Lieutenant Rodriguez was amazed by what she was seeing. Captain, their ships are so poorly designed. Their armor has gaps where the hull sections connect. Their shield generators are in the most obvious places. It is like they have never fought anyone with advanced technology before. Morrison nodded. That is probably exactly right, Amy. They have been the strongest force in this region for so long, they forgot how to fight real wars. Engineer Parker called out from his station. Captain, I think we have made our point. Most of their fleet is disabled now. Morrison looked at the tactical display. 18 of the 20 alien ships were now floating helplessly in space. Only Admiral Krexter's flagship and one other vessel were still able to fight. Open a channel to the alien admiral. The main screen showed Admiral Krexter as bridge. The proud warrior looked broken and confused. His crew members were working frantically at damaged control panels. Admiral, Morrison said calmly, I think this fight is over. Your weapons cannot hurt us, and we do not want to hurt you anymore. Will you listen to reason now? Krexter's voice was barely a whisper. What kind of beings are you? We are humans. We come from a planet called Earth. We have been watching your empire for some time. Why? What do you want from us? Morrison smiled. Nothing, actually. We were hoping to make peaceful contact someday. Unfortunately, your people decided to attack us instead. But you could have destroyed us all. Why did you not? Because destroying people is not what humans do, Admiral. We prefer to build things, not break them. Commander Vextal's voice came over the communication channel. Admiral Krexter, these humans speak the truth. They have shown mercy when they could have shown only death. The Admiral looked at the tactical display showing his ruined fleet. What happens now? Captain Morrison leaned back in his chair. Now we talk. I think it is time your empire learned that the galaxy is bigger than you thought. There are other civilizations out here, and some of them are much more advanced than you are. Will you conquer us? Krexter asked. No, Conquest is not our way, but we would like to establish diplomatic relations. Your people and ours could learn much from each other. Admiral Krexter looked around his damaged bridge, then back at the human captain. I will contact the Empire immediately. This changes everything. Morrison nodded. Yes, it does. But change can be good, Admiral. Your people have been alone for too long. It is time to discover that you have neighbors. As the communication ended, Morrison turned to his crew. Good work, everyone. I think we just prevented a war and started a friendship. Lieutenant Rodriguez smiled. Sir, what do we do now? Now we wait and see if the Zephyrian Empire is ready to join the galactic community. And Amy? Yes, sir? Send a message to Earth Command. Tell them we are going to need some diplomats out here.